In the headlines, Kaduna judiciary workers begin indefinite strike over unmet demands. Resident doctors to commence indefinite strike November 1st. Stakeholders express concern over low dog vaccination in Gombe. Away from Nigeria, vote counting begins as Ouattara seeks fourth term amid rising tensions. Hello and welcome to the news update on Trust TV. I am Mariam Idris. And now the details. The Judiciary Staff Union of Nigeria, JUSUN Kaduna State Branch, has declared an indefinite strike effective Monday, October 27, 2025, citing the state government's failure to address long-standing welfare and financial autonomy issues. In a statement released after an emergency meeting held on October 13th, the union said it was left with no option than to explore all available channels and avenues for an indefinite strike action, following several unacknowledged letters to the government, including correspondences dated September 1st and October 9th, 2025. The union's key demand include the implementation of financial autonomy for the judiciary as enshrined in the 1999 Constitution as amended, payment of withheld April and May 2021 salaries, and the implementation of consequential salary adjustments. Other grievances include the payment of 9 years arrears of the 20% salary component from 2016, settlement of leave and transport grants, and the provision of outfit allowances for judiciary staff. In a statement signed by Nasir Harun, Secretary of the Kaduna State Branch, JUSUN ordered all judiciary staff to withdraw their services and directed that all courts, including High Court, Sharia Court, customary courts, and other judicial units ensure total compliance with the strike. The strike is expected to paralyze judicial activities across the state from Monday unless the Kaduna state government takes swift action to address the workers' demand. The Nigerian Association of Resident Doctors, NAD, has announced plans to embark on a nationwide indefinite strike starting November 1st, following the expiration of a 30-day ultimatum issued to the federal government. NAD President Muhammad Suleiman said this in an exclusive interview on Saturday, stating that the association's National Executive Council (NEC) reached the decision after reviewing the government's response to its demands during an emergency virtual meeting. He said the official strike notice will be issued within 24 hours, as mandated by the NEC. The strike, if implemented, is expected to severely disrupt services in public hospitals across Nigeria, where resident doctors constitute the bulk of the medical workforce and provide critical clinical care. The association had on September 26 given the federal government 1 month to resolve multiple grievances affecting doctors' welfare, working conditions, and career progression. These include the non-payment of 25% and 35% arrears from the upward review of the Consolidated Medical Salary Structure, COMMES, and the dismissal of 5 resident doctors at the Federal Teaching Hospital, Lokoja, which NAD described as unjust. Other key issues include unpaid promotion arrears, delayed rank upgrades after postgraduate exams, and the non-payment of 2024 accoutrement allowances. NAD also decried the exclusion of resident doctors from specialist allowances and faulted the downgrading of newly employed doctors from COMMES 3 Step 3 to COMMES 2 Step 2, leading to salary shortfalls. Now, contractors responsible for supplying food to inmates in correctional centers across Nigeria have raised alarm over the federal government's alleged failure to settle debts exceeding 30 billion naira. 2 contractors who spoke to the reporters disclosed that they were owed about 7.7 billion naira for supplies made between October and December 2023, in addition to an unimplemented feeding rate approved since August 2024. They lamented that despite the government's approval to raise the daily feeding allowance per inmate from 750 naira to 1,100 125 naira. Payments have continued to at the old rate, creating a 23 billion naira shortfall. The delay, they said, has left many suppliers struggling to sustain operations amid rising food prices. The upward review approved by the presidency in August 2024 was intended to improve the quality of meals in correctional facilities and cushion the impact of inflation and fuel subsidy removal. More than a year later, however, the new rate remains unimplemented, leaving suppliers to operate under the outdated payment structure. Several contractors described the situation as dire and unsustainable. Some said they have resorted to high-interest bank loans to continue food deliveries, while others warned that prolonged delays could force them to halt supply altogether. However, a senior NCOS official confirmed the outstanding debts, acknowledging that the situation could affect both the quality and quantity of meals served to inmates across the country. And now the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, has arrested popular Lagos socialite Mike Eze Nwali Uwogu, better known as Pretty Mike, alongside over 100 suspects during a drug party at Proxy nightclub, Victoria Island, Lagos. According to a statement released on Sunday, the operation followed credible intelligence about the illicit gathering. NDLEA operatives who had infiltrated the party on Saturday night raided the club at about 3 a.m. on Sunday, recovering cartons of loud and laughing gas from the premises. The arrests come amid a series of nationwide crackdowns by the agency, which also uncovered 70 parcels of cocaine concealed in body cream containers at Murtala Muhammad International Airport, Lagos, and made multiple arrests linked to the consignment bound for the UK. In related operations, NDLEA officers intercepted large quantities of tramadol, skunk, and methamphetamine across Kwara, Taraba, Kogi, Nasarawa, Ondo, Kaduna, and Zamfara states, arresting several suspects, including a Lesotho national, a mother of two alleged to be a major loud distributor in Lagos, and even a 75-year-old man in Abia State. The agency reaffirmed its commitment to intensifying its war against drug abuse and trafficking, warning that no one, regardless of status or influence, will be spared. Now, the ongoing measles, rubella, MR vaccination campaign in Adamawa is achieving a significant success with impressive attendance and wide community acceptance. Stakeholders attribute the success to strong collaboration among health authorities, traditional institutions, and community-based groups. In particular, the Fathers for Good Health initiative has played a crucial role in mobilizing parents and caregivers. Trust TV's Gibson Saudigo reports.
The loud cry of children who are receiving the measles rubella vaccination can be heard throughout Adamawa State. As one child tries to cope with the pain of the injection, another cries out as a needle pierces their skin. The vaccination campaign is organized by the federal and state governments in collaboration with UNICEF, WHO, and JAVI under the initiative Fathers for Good Health. This initiative works closely with ward heads, religious institutions, and schools to raise awareness among residents about the importance of immunization.
We have go around all our primary schools, our tertiary institutions, that's the secondary school we have in Adarawa, and we inform the head teachers or the principals. Let them write a letter telling the parents either to tick yes or no when they are children, when they agree to vaccinate. So all the principals, the headmasters give us their maximum cooperation, and they did that. And by the time our team visited their schools, we found no difficulties.
There is a high level of participation and awareness regarding this vaccination across Adamawa State as a result of strong coordination from the state's Primary Health Care Development Agency and technical support from the UNICEF.
One of the strategies we're also using is also these Fathers for Good Health, because the idea is that we are selecting fathers in their own community. So even if it's a distant community, you don't need to travel to go intimate people about the campaign. Those who reside there, the fathers who reside there, the mother. We also have another group called the Mama to Mama group. All these are community structures that are domiciled in some of these hard to reach places. So instead of us looking for people to come from the city to go do mobilization and engagement, we just have people on ground.
Wala Caroline, a volunteer student nurse, acting as a caregiver, shared that while managing crying children can be challenging, most parents are cooperative and recognize the importance of the vaccines.
Sometimes the way the children cry, holding them and making them understand that they need it, they need what they are being given to. So those are just the challenges.
For Muhammad Kasim, a father of 3, the decision to bring his children for vaccination stemmed from the success of previous vaccinations his children had received. Reported global surveillance for measles indicated 359,500 cases, with Nigeria experiencing thousands of suspected or reported measles cases. During recent outbreaks, estimated at 16,000 suspected cases in just the past half year. Gibson Soadgo, Trust TV News, Yola.
Moving on, terrorists, locally referred to as bandits, have kidnapped 9 passengers and injured 3 others, including a commercial driver, in separate attacks along the Kogi-Kwara highway. According to reports from residents, the incidents occurred on Saturday between Egbe and Eruku along the Egbe-Ilorin route. Witnesses said the kidnapped victims were traveling from Insanlu Makutu, Yagba East local government area of Kogi State, to Ilorin, the Kwara State capital. Among those abducted were 2 white garment church leaders identified as Prophet Michael and Iyabode Asubiojo. In another assault, the terrorists reportedly ambushed a commercial vehicle returning from Ilorin, firing at the driver and leaving him and 2 other passengers, a trader and a local resident from Egbe, seriously injured. Police authorities in Kogi and Kwara State have yet to issue statements regarding the attack. Now, troops of the Joint Task Force Operation Enduring Peace, OPEP, have launched a massive manhunt for the notorious bandit leader Mohammed Sule, also known as MP, who has been terrorizing communities in Rawaya village in Barikin Ladi local government area of Plateau State. The Director of Defense Media Operations, Major General Marcus Kangi, disclosed this in a statement, noting that the operation followed a recent raid on the suspect's residence, where troops recovered a cache of arms and ammunition. Items recovered include 2 AK-47 rifles, 1 G3 rifle, 1 revolver pistol, 6 magazines, and 1,202 rounds of live ammunition. Kange described Sule as a dangerous terror kingpin with strong links to a deadly Islamist terrorist group. Intelligence reports, according to Kangi, have connected Sule to multiple deadly attacks in Barikin Ladi and surrounding areas, resulting in the death of hundreds of civilians and the rustling of thousands of cattle. The military spokesman added that troops of Operation Hadinkai in the northeast also arrested several terrorists, informants and collaborators during coordinated operations across multiple communities. Kange reaffirmed the military's commitment to eliminating terrorist network and restoring peace to Plateau and other parts of the country affected by insurgency and banditry. Now, tension erupted in Owaron, Shoki, Lagos on Sunday as armed policemen and suspected thugs reportedly attacked residents of Coca Street during a fresh round of demolitions carried out by the Lagos State Task Force. Eyewitnesses described scenes of violence and chaos, saying thugs brutalized residents resisting the demolition, while tear gas was fired in parts of Miyaki as bulldozers moved into Oje Leru. The renewed operation, which residents says has already rendered thousands homeless, has drawn sharp criticism from civil rights groups and community leaders. Over 7,000 housing units are estimated to have been destroyed since the demolition began, deepening the housing crisis in the state. Despite a directive from the Lagos State House of Assembly ordering an immediate halt to further demolitions, the exercise reportedly continued, fueling fueling public outrage and protests in the area. Displaced residents have appealed for government intervention, urging the state to provide alternative shelter and livelihood support. This is the news update on Trust TV. Coming up after the break. Stakeholders express concern over low dog vaccination in Gombe. More news when we return. Do stay with us. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, you're watching the news update on Trust TV. Now let's take a recap of our major stories again. Kaduna judiciary workers began indefinite strike over unmet demands. Resident doctors to commence indefinite strike November 1st. Now moving on to more stories. The Joint Committee of the Senate and House of Representatives on Constitution Review has unanimously approved the creation of an additional state in the Southeast geopolitical zone. When created, the Southeast will be at par with South-South, Southwest, North Central and Northeast zone with 6 states. The Southeast is the only geopolitical zone with 5 states comprising Abia, Anambra, Ebonyi, Enugu and Imo states. The Northwest comprises 7 states made up of Kaduna, Kano, Kebbi, Kaduna, Zamfara, Sokoto and Jigawa states. The resolution of the committee was reached during a 2-day retreat in Lagos on Saturday, where it reviewed 55 proposals for state creation across the country. The session, chaired by the Deputy Senate President, Senator Barau Jibril, and co-chaired by the Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, Benjamin Kalu, deliberated on the subject matter and resolved that, in the spirit of fairness and equity, the federal government should create another state for the region. Kalu, who joined other lawmakers to champion additional state creation for the region, argued that a new state will give the people a sense of belonging. A statement on Saturday by the media unit of the Joint Committee quoted members as voting in favor of granting additional states to the Southeast. Similarly, the committee also established a subcommittee to consider the creation of additional states and local government areas across all 6 geopolitical zones, noting that a total of 278 proposals were submitted for review. Speaking at the event, Jibrin urged members to rally support among their colleagues at the National Assembly and State House of Assembly to ensure the resolution sails through during voting. Now, the African Democratic Congress, ADC, has vowed to petition ECOWAS, the African Union, and other international bodies over what it described as a series of violent attacks targeting its members across several states controlled by the All Progressive Congress, APC. The party accused the ruling APC of attempting to intimidate and suppress opposition voices ahead of the 2027 general elections, warning that the trend could set the stage for politically motivated violence nationwide. Speaking on Sunday, the ADC's National Publicity Secretary, Bolaji Abdullahi, said the party would formally alert the international community to what it called an orchestrated pattern of assault and intolerance. He has cited multiple incidents, including attacks in Kaduna, Ekiti, Ogun and Lagos states, as evidence of escalating hostility. On August 30th, thugs reportedly disrupted an ADC meeting in Kaduna attended by former Governor Nasir El-Rufai, leaving several members injured. In Ekiti State, the party's secretariat was set ablaze last Tuesday, just hours before an inauguration ceremony for 8 state executives. Hoodlums allegedly vandalized vehicles, assaulted members and destroyed properties. Similarly in Lagos, ADC members were attacked during a rally in the Alimosho area, which was held to welcome Labour Party presidential candidate Peter Obi and Gbadebo Rhodes Vivo, the LP's 2023 governorship candidate. In Ogun State, The ADC accused police operatives of disrupting its campaign rally in Shagamu ahead of the Remo federal constituency by election held on August 16th. Abdullahi said the attacks were part of a disturbing trend that must be addressed urgently. He also referenced a Canadian court ruling that recently described the APC and PDP as terrorist organizations, arguing that recent developments only reinforce that perception. Now, concerns are growing among stakeholders in Gombe and across Nigeria over the low rate of dog vaccination, a major factor in continued spread of rabies, a deadly but preventable disease that kills about 1,600 people in Nigeria every year. The stakeholders flagged off a nationwide free anti-rabies vaccination campaign for dogs and cats in Gombe, targeting thousands of pets. Zoonotic disease experts warn that thousands of people are dying from preventable disease annually, a situation that needs major concerns from stakeholders. Trust TV's Hassan Lawal Koli has more.
Here in Gombe, hunters, government officials, veterinarians and community leaders have gathered to kick off what they call a life-saving mission, protecting both animals and humans from rabies through mass vaccination. Officials say the campaign is not just about vaccinating animals, but about saving human lives, especially children who are the most vulnerable victims of rabies.
Gombe State has reported deaths of people because of this issue of rabies disease, and we want to see that Gombe State is free of rabies disease. Globally, there is a push to eradicate rabies by 2030, and Nigeria has keyed into this effort. So by 2030, Nigeria is expected to be free of rabies.
We have cases annually. It is estimated that the human lives that we lose due to rabies in Nigeria is about 1,600 approximately, and out of this 1,600, 86% of this are children below the age of 15 years. The issue in vaccinating the dogs, so far we haven't vaccinated even up to 30. Well, there was a documentation that we have vaccinated about 32% of our dogs. But in some other places, because it differs based on the state, in some states it's 4%, in some states it's 2%, in some states it's 12%, so there is so much work to be done.
Hunters are among those pledging their support for the campaign and the most affected by rabies, as many of them have lost their pets.
Kuma ina ƙara jan kunnen mutanenmu mafarauta har ma ba mafarauta ba.
It's a nice move, and we will mobilize all our members to bring their dogs for vaccination. I won't serve a sentence in prison after my unvaccinated dog bites one person. Therefore, I am not taking vaccination as a job. Stakeholders agree that the journey to a rabies-free Nigeria depends on public awareness, community participation, and continued government commitment. Health experts say rabies is 100% preventable, but only if dogs and cats are vaccinated regularly. Hassan Lawal Koli, Trust TV News, Gombe.
On the foreign scene, vote counting has begun in Ivory Coast presidential election following the closure of polls on Saturday, where President Alassane Ouattara, 83, is seeking a controversial fourth term in office. Turnout was reportedly low, with only a few voters arriving before polls closed at 6 p.m. Many Ivorians expressed fatigue and fear of unrest, recalling violent protests that erupted in August after Ouattara announced the intention to run again despite opposition from rivals and civil society. Several of Ouattara's key challenges were barred from contesting, prompting accusations of democratic backsliding. Political rallies were banned in October, and clashes between protesters and police in Abidjan Black House district left hundreds arrested and several injured. 5 candidates are contesting the poll, but observers expect Ouattara, whose party, the Rally of Hofeutistes for Democracy and Peace, RHDP, dominates parliament, to retain power. His presidency has been marked by rapid post-war economic growth, averaging 6% annually, driven by the country's cocoa exports. However, poverty and youth unemployment remain pressing issues, with over 37% of Ivorians living below the poverty line. Analysts predict low voter turnout, reflecting widespread disillusionment with elections that have often led to violence. Preliminary results are expected today, Sunday. And in sports news, Kano Pillars woes deepened on Saturday as they suffered a 0-2 home defeat to Niger Tornadoes in Kaduna, compounding the struggles of newly appointed coach Muhammad Babaganaru in his first game in charge. The match, played at the Muhammad Diko Stadium, saw Tornadoes take control in the second half through goals from Abdurrashid Dabai and Tado Shimagande, securing their second consecutive MPFL victory. Despite the introduction of Ahmed Musa from the bench, Pillars could not find a breakthrough as their poor run of form continued, leaving the four-time league champions hovering near the relegation zone. Babaganaru, who previously led Pillars to league glory, replaced Evans Ogenyi last week following a series of disappointing results. His first outing underlined the scale of the rebuilding task ahead, with the team struggling for cohesion and confidence. Pillars' crisis has been worsened by recent MPFL sanctions that forced them to play home games away from their traditional Sani Abacha Stadium in Kano after crowd disturbances during their fixture against Shooting Stars. With that, we've come to the end of the news update on Trust TV. Do not forget to follow us across all our social media platforms and also join our YouTube live stream for more news. I am Mariam Medris. Thank you for watching.